Hey everyone, it's Chris with HotShotsCatering.com, and this is another episode of Hot Shots TV. And today the topic is Walmart. Does Walmart offer a valuable coffee? Well, we got their Mainstays brand, the 5-cup coffee brewer, and we got their single-serve coffee brewer that accepts pods as well. We're going to put them both together. We're going to taste test. We're going to find out how good the quality is of these machines, as well as if they're a good buy for you. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Okay, so we got our coffee and we have our coffee makers. So before we get started, let me kind of go through a little bit about what the goal is here and what we actually have here in front of us. So the main goal is with this video is, one, I'm showcasing what Walmart has to offer on their lowest end coffee makers and coffee products that they sell. And how good can that possibly be? Can it actually add value to your coffee, or is it just horrible? And so in a later video, I'd like to do something where we compare it with our brand that we currently use is Lavazza, and some of the more Italian coffee, and we'll really see what is the taste. Is there a big difference there? But we'll save that for another video. The video that we're going to do today is focusing just on Walmart's brand of coffee at their lowest end and how much value can it really bring to you in your home. So we started off with Mainstays. Mainstays is Walmart's kind of great value, or what have you, their home brand of supplies. And so this is their home brand coffee makers. This one here, we got a 5-cup coffee brewer that just does standard coffee, just like you traditionally would. And then we got their single serve. Now this machine in this unit right here is more like a Keurig that you'll find. The unique factor about this is it can take little Keurig pods, type style pods, but it can also take ground coffee as well and do it as a single serve. The difference in pricing, it's kind of perverse, right? You would think a single serve would be cheaper than 5 servings or something like that. This unit here is actually $10 at Walmart, give or take. This unit here, the single serve pod brewing system, is about $20. So you put them together, this is actually more expensive because it's more like a pod machine than the standard coffee brewer. Now, we couldn't go all out and really, to keep a good testing basis here, we decided to go with the Walmart coffee machines, but not only that, we decided to keep it fair and go with the Walmart coffee as well. So here we have a classic roast ground coffee of great value. This is some of the cheapest coffee I could find. I believe it's around $2 to $3. Same goes for these pods. Very inexpensive coffee, and we're going to see how that tastes as well. These are the same thing, pods. Obviously the blends and stuff, I will tell you there was an assortment amount of blends for both of these items, which I think is kind of cool for Walmart to kind of offer French vanilla. I think they even had like something like a pumpkin spice type flavor, all kinds of different things. So they do have a lot of offerings for both of these, and it's great that you can pick up the coffee and you can automatically go home with your units and your machines and be ready to brew some good coffee. So let's first start by an unboxing. Okay, so we've unboxed the 2 units, and I gotta first start off with some first impressions. These shouldn't be very surprising either for what they cost, but I will tell you that both these units definitely feel cheap. Probably made with some of the cheapest plastic that's out there. I'll be honest with you, even this unit, just the way it kind of goes in, it doesn't even go underneath this thing real easily. It's you know, I think even a Mr. Coffee fits a little bit better than this. But, you know, does that mean that they can't brew good coffee? I don't know. The next question is how long will they last? That's another video that we need to get into and talk about too, is how long does this stuff last? You know, Keurigs and these different coffee units that you can go out there and buy, compared to spending a little bit more money with a better brand or a better type of coffee. What is that worth to you? So that's what this video is all about, is really taking a look at what is the most inexpensive. And I think these are truly some of the most inexpensive coffee things I've ever purchased, at least coffee makers. So let's start with this guy right here, the 5-cup unit. You know, the glass is pretty nice. There's not really any imperfections. It does have nice numbering and everything on it. It's definitely all primarily plastic and glass. I'm not even sure if this metal is really metal on here. But it is a nice little carafe. The unit here, this is probably 2 pounds, 3 pounds, maybe 3 pounds. I mean, this thing feels light. It looks like everything, it looks like the heater element and everything is kind of glued in. The lid was kind of finicky, even on this guy here, just as you might have seen me in the video struggling. It's all kind of really cheap. You know, this probably, the hinge on this thing, I can tell you, will probably break the first couple times you make coffee. And that's kind of how it goes, right? So when you get cheap things like this, it's not the brewing that stops, it's the other things that stop, like the hinge comes off and then you gotta use as a kind of a fan lid or something, just to keep this thing from not splattering water everywhere. So overall, I think it's a fairly, I mean, it works, I'm sure. It looks like it does. Everything comes out, able to clean. This is kind of spring activated. Has the numbers here on the side for your reservoir tank for the water. The spout seems kind of intuitive. It's kind of cool. It goes in with the lid here to go down. Like I said, this lid looks like the cheapest thing on this unit, but you know, that's to be expected for $10. What do you expect? The other thing, like I said, is how this goes in, spring activated, but this whole unit, I mean, this is lifting up just from me pushing on it. It looks like it has a start-stop function, and that is about it. So you fill this thing up for 5 cups or whatever you want, you turn it on, and you just let it brew and see what comes out on the other side. Now let's go over to this unit, this pod brewer here. This is kind of unique. It has a drip tray that's removable with a couple of different options here, I guess, to put in bigger cups. It's probably what you're paying for partly. It definitely feels a little more solid, but it might just be because it has more mechanicals inside. The back is pretty unique. It even shows you as a reservoir here, max fill and all of that as far as your waters go. I believe this comes out. We're about to find out. Looks like it comes out. Yes. So this comes out. Has a little screen mesh as well, so that's kind of nice, so you don't drop anything in here that shouldn't go in here. That could be a problem. Now, to open the top lid, you actually have to push this in and lift up. Once again, here's another thing that looks like it could possibly be broken, or not broken now, but could break, I should say. And you can see the little pinch up here. Be very careful, this is very sharp, but this is what's gonna pinch the top of your coffee pod to allow the hot water to go through. So it looks like it only has one area of piercing. Nope, I'm sorry, the bottom pierces as well, which it should, but it looks like only 2 points of piercing as far as coffee drainage goes. This comes out, which is pretty cool. This is where your pod would fit into. You put your pod in there, and then you can put it in here, leave it in there, put your pod in there. And this is where we were talking about, I was talking about where you can do the ground coffee in a single as well. I think this is kind of a cool idea. If you're someone that's on the go, you don't need a whole pot of coffee, this is definitely gonna be your go-to. It's a little big compared to the stuff that I've seen that are pod makers. So I don't know how worth it is. It's 20 bucks, but At the same time, you could spend about $100 or $50 and get something a little bit more comparable that would probably last a lot longer. But you know, I can't say too much about how long it's going to last. You know, we're just talking, just looking at these things right now, and I feel like if I look at some of them wrongly, incorrectly, it might break on me. So that being said, you got at least the option of ground and pods. I really like that feature about this guy. This guy here is your basic coffee maker. If you were in a pinch, you could take this around, but quite honestly, I don't think this thing's nearly as nicely mobile as this thing would here. This actually snaps down, the lid won't fly off like this one will, and you could actually, this feels hardy enough that you could actually throw this in your car. Well, that's kind of the first impressions. Now let's see how they make coffee. Okay, so let's start brewing with the single pod unit first. I first rinsed it out, and that kind of gave me a little bit of insight of how this thing works. I'll tell you, because it's going to take a long time to brew, in theory. It's not like a traditional pod machine or like a Keurig. You push a button and it instantly comes out. So let me first start there, because that's probably what you're going to be looking for and one of the big drawbacks to something like this. First thing you have to do is you have to pour water in it. And like I said, there's a little measurement in here that's pretty cool, and I'll show you a picture here of what it looks like. But basically, you can put up to, I think, about a 14 ounce, maybe even 20 ounce cup in here to brew, you know, something on the go if you need to, which I think is pretty cool, you know. And I like how they actually have it tiered, so you can go as low as about a 6 ounce cup all the way up to about a 14 ounce cup, or like I said, you know, you're actually putting in some pre-water in there too. I just pre-brewed an 8 ounce and it was bigger than an 8 ounce cup. So, you know, you might be able to get a little bit away with that. But anyways, you're gonna put your distilled water or your purified water, what have you, in here. And I'm slowly just gonna pour, because I did overfill a little bit last time. And I'd like to get some decent extraction here. I will tell you too, when this unit brews, it does make a little bit of noise. So I'm gonna brew just right below the 8 ounce size. Now I'll tell you, I already smell burning, which could just be, like I said, a cheap unit. I smell like plastic. It's probably the first time it's actually been heated up, and obviously the heater's been tested. I don't know if they pre-test these things or not, but I do smell a little bit of plastic. Put in the water, we're good there. And I already took out one of these pods that we're gonna use. We're just gonna use Walmart's Great Value House Blend 100% Arabica, which I find very, very interesting. If it really is that, it should be pretty decent. Okay, so all you gotta do then, you know, we're obviously using the pod adapter here. Put that in there. I'm assuming I just close this, snap it down, and then you'll see these two sizes here. So we have ooh, and that coffee smells good. So we have capsule and we have ground here that you'll see. So take our cup, put it underneath, and then what I'm gonna do is hit capsule. And it's blinking, so that's telling me that it's getting ready to heat up. Now I'll tell you, this heat up process, I don't know if you can hear that, it isn't quiet. It's probably like your standard old school coffee brewer as far as loudness and sound. And then when it's done, you can hear the actual motor or what have you during the brewing process as well. So, you know, it makes noise, probably more noise than your Keurig or anything else, but it's not a drawback if it's obviously in a kitchen. This heating process, the first time I put water in, took about, I'd say 4 to 5 minutes. It should be a little bit quicker now, but let's wait and see. right, there it goes. Now it's brewing. So that was a lot quicker. That was probably about a minute and a half, I would imagine, somewhere in there, if my math's pretty good. I'll go back in the video and see. Coffee smells pretty good. And it's actually not splattering too much, which is also kind of nice. Brewing like it should. Has a consistent brew. Now I put about 6 ounces. This is an 8-ounce cup, just so you know. I put about 6 ounces in here, and you can hear that noise. I don't know what that is, but that's after it brews. I don't know if that's a little pump that's in there, but whatever it is screaming. So let's see how this one tastes. Not bad, still very, very hot. Which, I did test the temperature on this guy. Came out to 170 exactly. So it might be a little under the extraction. This is right at 170. Depending on who you talk to, extraction should be around a little bit over 200. But I can tell you it's very hot. I'm gonna let this cool. Let's go on to the next one. And after we brew with this guy, then we'll go back and taste both coffees. How's that sound? Okay, so now let's take a look at the 5-cup brewing system. So I will already tell you that this lid and this device that puts the water over top of the grounds is already annoying. It kind of binds, if you can see that. It's not really, I guess it's trying to help keep the lid up, but I find it more annoying than anything. I'm gonna tell you, I would probably, one morning, I'd wake up early, get out of bed, lift this lid up, and I'd break that sucker right off. I'm sure if you have some mornings like I do, it'll probably happen. So anyways, keep that in mind. Like I said, the biggest drawback I've found so far just with using this guy and just touching it is the lid and the function. I find it very annoying. The pod system, I didn't really have any of those issues. Okay, so let's start. Now remember, this one is a 5-cup brewing system. I'm not gonna brew it a full 5 cups. Probably should, but I don't wanna take up too much more of your time. So I think it'd be just a big waste of time. So let's do 3 cups. Pretty much gonna come out the same way. Remember, when you're brewing traditional coffee, you need these things, this little coffee filter. So you can put that down in there, okay, which is great. This little coffee filter comes out, you know, that's pretty standard, but you know, it's good that it comes out so you can clean it. Now let's take some of Walmart's Finest. Now in the instructions it said for every cup to use about 5 grams. This is a 7-gram scoop. I'm gonna put maybe 2 scoops, 2.5 scoops in here. That should do us. So let's do that. I'll tell you, this coffee smells really, really good. I don't know, I just love the smell of coffee. It smells delicious. Okay, so there we go. I'll put like a little bit of 2.5. That should be close enough. If it doesn't fall down. See, now this thing doesn't want to work. Okay, so let's do that. Slide that over there. We got our water. Throw those filters out of the way. Now, we're just gonna pour the water in the back reservoir here. I have the unit turned off, or I should. Already cleaned it out. Anytime you buy anything these days, coffee, what have you, this is pretty self-explanatory. Most of you guys probably know this. Always rinse it out. Rinse this out, rinse the basin out, rinse everything out, throw it in the dishwasher. You don't know where these things come from, and you don't know how they've traveled here. So yeah, I always say, make sure everything's clean before you use it. You don't know where it's been. So let's try this. Like I said, this thing's a little iffy. That should be good. That should be ready to go. Let's turn it on. Kick the tires. How they say that? Kick the tires, light the fires. Let's see here. Now this unit, I'll tell you, it actually seemed like it brewed a lot faster than the pod unit as far as the first time heating it up. Now, of course, this one took like 4 to 5 minutes after I put water in it to start heating up. This one took maybe 3. It seemed to go really, really quickly, which I thought was kind of a plus. Noise-wise, this one might be a little bit quieter. Since it's probably not pressurizing and pushing water out, it's more like just sprinkling it on top of your coffee, as opposed to this. Now, I don't know, I'm assuming there's some type of little pump inside this unit over here, the pod unit. It looks like it's already starting to brew. Let's give this a few minutes. And let's see how we end up. Okay, so let's see how she did, right? And actually, before I pour, I'm going to do a little temperature reading. See what this extraction's like. Now this feature this unit does actually turn off or pause when it's done brewing, which you would imagine it would. So it's not exactly you got to turn it off. And it does feel that this is warm underneath. So it will keep your coffee nice and warm. I don't know how long, but should keep your coffee at least nice and warm after it's brewed, which is a nice thing as well. I do smell burning plastic, melting plastic, if you will. Once again, I think that's pretty obvious, pretty standard for how cheap these things are. You're probably gonna smell that because they probably don't do any pre-testing before they put these out. But let's go ahead and taste these now that we have them. Okay, we got this unit here. This one is cooled down a little bit. So this one on the right is from the pod unit. This guy right here, which I'm gonna bring over here so we can see it again. Remember, these coffees are both Walmart brand. The pod one that I'm going to taste here is the 100% Arabica House Blend ground coffee. It's a medium, bold, and nutty flavor notes, supposedly. So let's try that. I can kind of get that taste, if you will. You know, to me, I'd say it kind of tastes a little stale to me. It's not bold and impactful like a good Italian roast or just a good coffee in general. I'm so used to drinking espresso, but when I drink coffee, I like it to have a certain taste, like of freshness, if you will. I'm not really tasting that right off the bat with this one. Which then again, it's understandable. These are pods, and they're tinfoil pods. About kind of the worst type of pod you can actually get in a lot of ways. But then again, they're just cheap. This one's Best Buy, September 25th, 2020. So this will be good till next year. But I taste a little bit of the nutty. I see what they're talking about. To me, could I drink it every day? Yes. Is it my favorite? No. But it's not bad. It is pretty bold. I will say it does have a good taste. Did have a good extraction. I can taste the coffee. Doesn't taste too weak, and that's a very big plus in my book because you can go to a restaurant and have pretty weak coffee. So I think it could get by. Would I want to drink this all week long? Probably not, but that's just my personal opinion. It brewed a great cup of coffee, I'd say. Nothing weird about the coffee. For instance, I don't taste plastic or anything I shouldn't taste. I taste coffee. It's a little acidic too. I can taste a little bit of the acidity. So that's from the pod, from the single brewer unit. Now let's try the 5-cup brewing unit. Now remember, this coffee was great value, classic roast ground coffee. It's a medium as well, but it's called rich and smooth. Okay. Some people might say that's like me. No, just kidding. All right, no one said that. Okay, so let's try this here. Okay, first impressions, I'm gonna be 100% honest. To me, I almost taste like that leather taste, if that doesn't gross you out. Like the smell of leather, that's almost kind of what it tastes like to me. I'm just giving my first impressions. Once again, I still get kind of like this stale taste, almost like when you drink tea, kind of similar to that. Some teas, I should say, you know, to me kind of tastes like a little, kind of like a particular taste, almost like it falls off flat, really kind of a stale. This is probably my least favorite compared to the other one. The other one seemed a little bit more bold. This is definitely smooth and it's probably definitely rich. It's not as bold or rich as the pod. I can definitely taste the coffee. It's not too weak, but I'd say it's probably borderline with the flavors, and it could just be the notes that I'm tasting. But honestly, I get kind of this unique flavor. Well, I'll say both of these aren't bad. If you had to drink them, go for it. Would I want to drink them every day compared to the other coffees and stuff that I've drank? No, but I do think both these machines, did they do a good job brewing coffee? Yes. Did they do a good extraction? Yes. And I think with the notes and everything, these aren't bad coffees to drink every day. But for my personal taste, they're a little bit different in flavors than what I personally like. To me, they almost kind of lean on the stale side, like they've been, you know, taken a while before they've been packaged. And they might have been sitting on the shelf for a while too. So, you know, you got to take all that into consideration. You know, I'm just used to drinking fresh coffee, but that's just me. I'm in this business. You probably aren't. So I would say, you know, does it do good extraction? Yes. Does it do a good cup of coffee? Yes. I would try to find one that you like personally as far as flavors go. And if you're in a bind and you just need something to get you by for a week, you know, you can't go wrong really. You know, $10, $20. Personally, which one would I personally like to buy and purchase? I would spend the extra $20 and I would buy the single pod unit. One, I'm one person and it's easy enough. At the most, me and my fiance could take this, we could go on a trip and we could brew some coffee on the go, get some different capsules and pods, get us through a week. And then if I lose it or if I throw it away or heck, if it breaks within a week, I'd be fine too. The other thing is too, real quickly, I wanted to let you know what the boxes say on these things. And so this guy here, okay, let's get these coffees out of the way. This unit here, just to let you know, it does work with K-cups. So you could use your Keurig cups inside this unit, your favorite kind of coffee if you like the donut shop or any of those. This is kind of cool because now you can use K-cups and you can use the others or Walmart's brand, what have you. You know, you're not kind of stuck to that. Keurig, compared to a Keurig, I don't know. I don't really use Keurigs, but I'll tell you, a Keurig more than likely has better extraction than this does, probably gives you a little bit better flavors and notes. This guy literally had, like I said, 2 points of contact for extraction, and you know, it did a good job. It's a solid build. This is the one I would personally go out and buy and be safe to buy it for a weekend and not worry about losing it. This guy over here, and also we mentioned here, this one is able to take travel cups as well. This guy over here, the 5-cup, is automatically start and serve function, easy to fill, dishwasher safe carafe, and it has a filter basket. And all these things are pretty common with these units, but just something I thought I'd mention that I did not talk about with these units. This guy, I probably wouldn't buy it unless I absolutely had to buy one and I needed it for 5 cups of coffee. I don't know when that would ever happen, but if it did and I wanted to buy one, great. I would say maybe if you're a renter or if you're someone that's maybe leasing or having a place and you want to offer coffee, this might be a good unit to get just to have something cheap. This to me is like what a hotel would offer you, maybe even a little bit of grade lower. I don't know how long it would last, but does it work? Yes. Am I thrilled about it? I didn't really like the lid. I don't like how all that works. I'm sure it won't last very long, but can it brew coffee? Yes. Well, other than that, guys, remember, if you are new to this channel, I'm Chris with hotshotscatering.com, and I'm all about the gourmet coffee experience. You can find out more about that at hotshotscatering.com. But if you don't know anything about that, go check out that website, as well as subscribe to our channel. If you love everything coffee, that's what I'm here to bring you. I'm here to learn and teach you more about coffee, and I want to know more about what you're looking for out of a coffee experience or just with coffee in general. We do gourmet coffee catering is my expertise. I've been in the business for over 12 years, and it's hotshotscatering.com. We're a DFW Dallas-based business, but this channel is all about teaching you about coffee and learning about coffee as well. Things that I don't know, I want to share with you as I learn it. Just like this point in mentioning, I don't know anything about these coffee makers before I bought them. This was not a paid for by Walmart. Walmart didn't pay me anything to do this review, but I think it's important if you're out there and you're struggling and you just want to get something real quick. I wouldn't recommend, I'd say I would recommend, I wouldn't take a second guess at these things. I would personally probably purchase the pod brewer over the straight drip. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, subscribe, like this channel. If you have any comments, positive or negative, leave them down below for me to read them, and I'll see you guys next time.